The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Union Broadcasting, Inc., Hot Talk 1510 KCTE, or its employees. The host is solely responsible for the on-air content.
Welcome to the Business Hour on ESPN 1510. This morning, it's the Entrepreneurial Moment, and here are your hosts, Brian Sullivan and Pat Madden.
I'm so happy.
I'm happy for a lot of reasons.
Why are you happy for a lot of reasons?
Well, obviously, the Jayhawks, baby. KU Final Four, beautiful 80 degrees.
You got 80 degrees.
Crazy.
You got your Kansas Jayhawks.
Got you back in the seat.
You
Been
got
a
me
couple
back
weeks.
in the seat. You got Barabbas during the Lenten season.
You didn't blow your knee out skiing.
Yeah. No. This is good. I am excited. We got Shane. Shane,
What's up?
you're back. I'm
back.
Pat's back. We took a little break. It was spring break for the children. Was it?
It never seemed to end.
Oh my gosh! It was a
It
good.
was
long-
perfect. So you went out of town, spent all that cash.
Yeah.
We had sunny, 75.
know.
It was like our own personal spring break.
I know.
Here in Kansas.
You know, it was last year, as you know, I blew my ACL out in my very last run.
You've been hobbling ever since.
Well, you know, and you know the most important non-work family thing that I like to do, Patrick, is
Would
what?
be golf.
I like to golf.
A little bit.
I like to golf. And so, you know, when I blew my ACL last year on that last run, the first thing I did is I was screaming like a 4-year-old child.
Oh, that's when they brought you down on the meat wagon down the mountain,
They
right?
brought me in the body bag, which was a hell of a
Which
ride.
was a great picture.
I got to tell you, you're like this. Now watch. I want you to picture yourself in a coffin, listener. You know, you got the rosary beads on your chest,
Yeah.
and you're bouncing, and you're hitting the moguls. And it's,
Not only did you blow your knee out, but you had a concussion by the time you
I
got down
did.
to the,
I
to the
did, but
bottom
there
of the
was,
mountain.
there was, huh?
I like how you said watch to the radio listeners.
Listen, you paint
He
a
didn't
picture.
let that one slide, did he?
I am very good at painting a picture. I want
He
them to
was.
watch the imagery.
Exactly. That's the magic of radio, Shane.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, we did miss you. And Shane, despite the fact that Kansas State did not do great in the tournament, I got to tell you, I love watching Frank Martin on the
He was getting some good airtime yesterday.
He's
He
good.
better still be our coach. You heard all the rumors about
Oh,
South Carolina.
he
That'd
didn't
be
go anywhere.
awful.
I know.
He's
I
not
know.
going.
He's using that as a little negotiation ploy, or probably get the AD kicked out, hopefully.
Well,
Yeah.
listen, hey, if South Carolina's good enough for my man Lou Holtz, it's probably good enough for
Lou
Frank
Holtz.
Martin. Okay?
Well, it's a football and a baseball school and a basketball school very far down the line.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to go there.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, listen, welcome back. Enough about sports. I know it's ESPN 1510, but we are an anomaly because we're a business show on ESPN
I know,
1510.
but it's fun to watch everybody else. We got all the TVs and everything.
Oh, we got the
You know.
TVs, we got the sports radio.
I think we should change all those to business hours. and
Yeah,
stuff.
but listen, here's why we are needed, Patrick. Because,
Why's that?
Well, because you can't sit in a bar and watch sports, and you got mortgages to pay.
That's true.
Right?
You could. I think I know some people that do.
You could, but at some point you got to. March Madness is over.
It's going to be, it's coming next week.
We have April bills to pay, and so our job is to help the folks become smarter. All right, so more
Right.
knowledge, more skill. We bring in some of the world's smartest people on the Entrepreneurial Moment radio program. We tap into them. We break them open like a bank vault. We steal all their ideas. You go back and become rich and famous, and you tell all your friends you learned it from Shane, Pat, and Sully. It's a real simple formula, right? So today we got a guy named David Domzalski. He's the founder of what's called the Financial Bin. It's a company he started in 2010 after paying off $20,000 in student loans. Many of us have had to face that same challenge of paying things off, right? Now, the Financial Bin, it's a growing media company. It's focused on personal finance. And obviously, now more than ever, it's important to talk about personal finance because the past few years, quite frankly, have not been great for many folks, right? And so our man David is going to walk us through some cool things. Hey, here's what's great about David. He wrote a book called The Entrepreneurial Invention. So we're going to take two angles.
The intervention.
Intervention. What did I say?
Invention.
Invention. Okay. You're so
But, yeah, I don't like to correct you, but
No, it's good. Yeah, you know what? I want you to correct me.
thanks.
Right?
We don't have enough show for that.
But here's what he did: is he looked at 28 entrepreneurs in history and said, "All right, what did these guys do well, and women do well, and what can we steal from them?" Right? Because here's the thing about business: certainly new ideas are being created every day, but there's a lot of great ones. Business has been done before, meaning
Right.
you can look at the lessons learned in business and try these things. Right? You don't have to start from scratch. So, my man David, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. How about yourselves?
We're doing
Doing
good.
great.
We're
Doing
doing
good.
good. We're excited because we've got two Kansas Jayhawk fans here, and so we're pretty pumped, because this show is all about success. And damn it, the Jayhawks were successful, weren't they?
Well done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Who's your team, by the way?
Well, I went to St. Joe's here near Philadelphia, so I mean they were good at least when I was in college, but right now it's so.
Yeah, you had a good little run there a few years ago.
Yeah, we did, and I got to cover it as part of the Hawk newspaper.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. Assistant sports editor.
That's
there you go.
That's beautiful. That was like my heyday back in Pat. I don't know if you knew this. Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
I'm sure my early radio days was at the Gettysburg College. It was the my show was called Under Fire.
No.
Oh, sure. It was the only conservative radio program in a liberal arts school, and we got thrown off the air by 2 liberal professors because we called them out.
That.
Yeah, we were cooked.
Oh,
it was not good.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Oh, sure. That was my early days. I had to write an apology in the school newspaper.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Free speech. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Drove me nuts.
Not at Gettysburg.
Not at Gettysburg. All right. Well, listen. So, David, tell us about this financial bin. What is it?
Sure. Well, you guys give a good little introduction there, but let me take you through. So I graduated St. Joe's in May 2006 with $20,000 in student loans, and that was about the average at the time. And I think now it's probably kicked up to about 25 or 30 for most folks. But it's really tough starting your professional life already behind the 8 ball. So I really had no clue how to even write a check or even do a budget because they don't teach you that in high school or college. So my girlfriend at the time. God bless her. She's now my wife, and she kind of sat me down and helped me understand everything. And she said, why focus on paying just the minimum? I kind of grew tired of not seeing the principal drop. So in around 2009, I decided to pay off the remaining debt, and I wanted to pay it off within a year, and I was able to do that. So in 2010, I was free of student loan debt, and I was saying to myself, after I got that letter saying that you were student loan debt free, I said, there's got to be other people out there in my age group, other people in Gen Y that need this help and need this advice because it is readily available, but not many people know where to go all the time, and it's not packaged correctly in just one little succinct place. So that's why I started the Financial Bin, and started out as a website that was kind of geared toward, kind of almost like an aggregator almost. And then I kind of said, well, that's not really the way to go. I want to make it more of a personal aspect and kind of take you through what my wife and I have learned. So now we bring in other entrepreneurs and other personal finance experts on our radio program, and we also write articles to do our best to kind of help people out.
Huh, that's great. Because obviously there's a boatload of kids coming out of college with this big debt. And isn't that one of the next big bubbles people talk about?
Well, actually, I think it was in the Wall Street Journal just this past week that back in 2011, we just tipped over the $1 trillion mark. Yeah. So that is the next bubble.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right. And so what's killing these folks is how do you start a business when you're $20,000 in debt? Right. So
right.
If we believe that building your own business is an option that didn't exist even, Pat, when you and I were around. I mean, you didn't come out of college
thinking you're going to do your own gig.
You were going to start. You went to the school-sponsored interview day, right? You went to
you put on your Navy blazer.
You put on the Navy blazer.
Khaki pants.
Right. You hope the guy from Ernest and Julio Gallo thought you were good enough for a second interview, right?
Exactly.
Right?
Yep,
Maybe the Procter & Gamble guy, if you were really good. Yeah. The Pfizer fella. He had the keys to the Ford Taurus.
Yep.
Right?
Company that's what car, baby.
That's right. So you didn't think I'm going to go and start a business. Now, I want you to think now when you have $20,000 in debt.
Right.
You can't start your own business, can you?
Right.
No, and it was difficult because actually, I don't recommend. I still work my full-time job, and so I run the Financial Bin on the side. So it's not. You got to pick and choose where you're putting your money, and a lot of times you're just bootstrapping. You're not going to go out, and banks aren't going to loan you any money, especially in this economy. So it's and as I've kind of gone along, God, like I said, God bless my wife. We just bought our first house and got married. It's almost been a year. It'll be a year in May since we've been married, and July we got our house. So I got more expenses to take care of. I can't just sink all of it in the business, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you got to pick and choose your battles. See where you what advertising do you want to target, and what kind of projects do you want to work on, like the book. You got to sink in some money doing that. So it's tough. But,
all right. So your goal here, though. All right. So your goal, because this is a good example here, because a lot of folks think that you have to make a full 2-foot leap into starting your own business. And what I just heard out of you is, no, I actually have a dental plan. You've got a 401k program, right? I mean, aren't you? Right?
Yeah.
So you're working for somebody.
Right.
Okay, that's great. All right. So you've got 1 foot in, and maybe four toes of the other foot, so that you can pay your mortgage. But you're building this financial bin on the side. Is the ultimate objective to create a business that is something that can sustain the dental plan and the future David children?
Exactly. That is exactly where I want to go. My wife wouldn't let me just jump in completely as much as I really wanted to.
Right.
But so I mean, I got, like I said, I mean, if it wasn't for that job that I have now, I wouldn't have been able to pay off that student loan debt, and I wouldn't be able to fund what I can with financial bins. So it's kind of a catch-22 almost, but it's what must be done right now. And I mean, with the hours that I work, I go into work. I get up at 4:30. I'm in work by 6, and I'm out by 3:30. So those hours that I have are mine. That's when financial bin comes alive, and that's when I work. So it's basically a second job.
Yeah. All right. Why do you want to do this?
Well, because I think when I left college and I jumped into I worked for KPMG, which is one of the top 4 accounting firms for a little while. I just realized that working for someone wasn't what I wanted to do. I don't like taking orders. I like doing my own thing and figuring out my own problems and things like that. And that's kind of that's why it was interesting when I was able to pay off my loans, because I figured it out myself. I didn't have someone dictating it to me, and I knew that I could help more people by doing something myself, something I was passionate about, rather than just working a job, working the 9 to 5, and doing the typical thing.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, do a lot of your friends feel the same way? Because your focus, which you mentioned earlier, is helping the Generation Y, and Pat and I are Generation Xers. You got Shane behind the glass. He's got his own letter. I mean, he's like Generation. What letter are you, Shane?
I'm Y.
He's Y.
All right, you're
you kidding me? That young pup in there.
Hey, can we also call it a millennial? Are you a millennial? Is that what we call you? Huh? I mean, Shane, millennial?
Whatever. I don't. Sure. Just let you say what you want.
That's a smart. That's a good answer.
Hey, David, it's millennial is the same as Generation Y, right? Or am I wrong?
Correct. It is.
I mean, so why do you guys need 2 names? What's with you? I mean, there's.
Well, that's special.
You are. I mean, you're a bunch of snot-nosed business kids is what you are. This is pathetic. All right? Now, listen, here's what we're going to do. I told you it was going to be a different interview, David. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a commercial break. I really want – I like where this is going, because I think it's great for all of us, I don't care what generation you're in, but to learn what's going in the minds of the guys who are coming out of college right now, right? And what are the struggles you are going through? And you are learning lessons right now, I think, in a much different way than Generation X was learning them. Once again, Pat and I, we didn't have the plan to start our own business. And I'm very curious as to why in your brains you believe that you can start something at such a young age. And obviously your goal isn't to go in this thing and just have a hobby. You want to blow this thing up. You want to create a business that kicks butt. And my question is, you, Mr. Millennial, what gives you the right to think at such a young, stinking age you can be so successful? It drives me nuts, and I absolutely love it. So come on back. We're with my man David from Philly, St. Joe. Is it college, university? Which one?
University.
St. Joe University. We're big basketball fans here on ESPN 1510.
Tom Watson talks about his new signature design at Loch Lloyd.
It's a special time for me to be able to build a golf course in my local community in the greater Kansas City area. The feelings that I have for Kansas City and in particular Loch Lloyd are very strong. We have a golf course of merit. We have a golf course that is really, truly a fun golf course to play, that you want to go back and play again and again and again. I think that people are going to really, truly enjoy playing there. I know I will.
Why do people drive from all over Kansas City to buy from Bob Allen?
I live in Lee Summit, but I just bought my first new car at Bob Allen.
They say it's the way they were treated.
The salesman listened to what I wanted and found the perfect car at Focus.
It's all about the great deals.
They beat the prices offered at my local dealership.
I'm Brad Hewlett of Bob Allen Ford, and you've heard my father say, all Fords are created equal. It's your dealer that makes a difference. Experience the Bob Allen difference at 93rd and Metcalf, BobAllenFord.com, or call 913-381-3000.
Okay, business owner, I have a question for you. What are you doing to effectively train your people to sell a ton of your product or service? Now, if you have a field sales force, a telemarketing department, or a customer service department, you need to learn more about my Precise Selling formula. Now, this formula reveals 7 specific actions that need to be performed on every sales call. If you're looking to increase your business by more than 20% in the next 6 months, you need to go to www.preciseselling.com right now to learn more. From there, you can preview my book, 20 Days to the Top, sample a clip from the Precise Selling CD audio seminar, or sign up for Precise Selling Online, a 10-hour program that is perfect for companies or individuals that don't have a formal sales training program. In fact, by going there right now, you can sign up for my free online training module, valued at over $100, that will teach you how to overcome common sales objections. My friend, it's time to turn your team into precision-guided sales weapons. It's time for Precise Selling. Are your sales lagging? If so, I have the formula to not only increase them, but increase them big, and in just 20 days. Hi, I'm Brian Sullivan, co-host of Entrepreneurial Moment and author of the book, 20 Days to the Top. 20 Days to the Top contains the exact formula to making your sales force famous in your industry. To purchase your copy or to learn how to boost your sales in just 20 days, go to www.preciseselling.com or pick up your copy of 20 Days to the Top at a bookstore near you. Welcome back. ESPN 1510, your 3 boys are here Monday morning. I know you missed us. Spring break.
God.
But we're
I
back.
heard the city weeping.
Oh, my gosh. But you know what?
Where are they?
It's time. It was time for us to get back in the chairs.
It was.
Right?
I
Shane, were you, did you get a chance to do any March Madness stuff? Did you go to Omaha and watch it?
I did go to Omaha.
How was that?
It was awesome.
Really?
Sorry, I know you kind of enjoy the Tigers, but I got to see that Norfolk State Missouri game.
Yeah, I know. I married a Missouri Tiger.
Well, you kind of have to then, don't you?
No,
I married a Jayhawk, so I have to actually kind of root for the Jayhawks.
No, I don't. I don't have to. No, because you know what? It's great because my little Jake. You've met Jake here. He's been on our radio program. So Jake likes the Jayhawks, and then the blondes in the house like the Tigers. So the blondes, Tigers, the brunettes.
There you go.
Which I consider myself a brunette.
Yes, you are a sassy brunette.
Yes, we like the Jayhawks. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. Listen,
it's nice to have a house divided.
Yeah, it is.
It's fun.
Especially when you go to Gettysburg College. I mean, you got to jump on something, right? I mean, the Bullets. It's almost like St. Joe. You know what I'm saying? Right?
That's brutal.
Right, David? You know?
Yeah,
it's like saying, at least you get to go to a tournament. I mean, my big claim to fame was I got to play Drexel in Haverford.
They're a
okay?
powerhouse.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So my days of a Gettysburg lacrosse player, I'm going up to Philly to play Haverford.
Is that really a college? Haverford.
You tell him, Dave.
Haverford, yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. It's like a small liberal art school for the richy rich. You know?
That's right.
It sounds like a type of rash you might get.
No. What?
Your Haverfam is flaring up. Don't you have some ointment for that Haverfam?
All right, listen. This is not respectful.
Haverfam.
That's why the Gettysburg Bullets, the blue collar guys like me, would go up and we beat up on those rich fellas.
They deserved it with a name
that's
like
right.
Haverfam.
We brought them some of the Bullets. We're in the house in Philly, on the main line in Philly. All right, so here we go. Hey, we're with David Domzalski. You're a good Polish fella, right?
Yeah,
good Polish fella.
Love my kielbasa.
Oh, I love a good kielbasa. All right, so listen, this is a founder of the organization called the Financial Bin. I love it. By the way, you might want to be one of those salespeople driving around you in that fancy Ford Taurus. You're 23 years old, and you're saying, man, this guy David is doing what I wanted to do. I never really wanted to work for the man. I wanted to build something else. And I think what David is showing is, guess what? You really could have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's how I started my entrepreneurial life, was having 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So I think the lesson of today's show is, you know what? As long as you get your job done at work and you have the hall pass or the blessing from someone inside, go live your dream. All right, now, before the break, I was giving you a little heat, David. I said, listen, you got a lot of nerve, you young rat, believing you can go out and you can start your own business. And I love this. I absolutely love the attitude of the Generation Y. Now, you've been inspired, I can assume, like many other millennials, by the likes of Zuckerberg, the likes of the other young folks out there who have hit it really big. Pat and I in Generation X, we didn't have anyone to look to as an example of saying, guess what, you can actually do this. Have these people inspired you? Is that why you think Generation Y believes that, hey, I can start earlier. I don't have to wait till I'm 53 years old and decrepit?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely, the Zuckerbergs of the world, obviously. I mean, you look to you look to a guy like that, and you just say, I mean, you salivate because it's just so amazing. I mean, my business is a little different, but I think actually, but it is the Zuckerberg, but it's also the Zuckerberg effect, I guess you could say, but it's also the fact that, we're growing up at a time kind of like our grandparents. I mean, it's almost like it's not so much the Great Depression, but it's, the Great Recession. I mean, it's bad enough out there in terms of finding a job. So, we don't expect the world to hand us anything. We do expect to succeed, but we don't expect it to be handed to us. It's almost like, I guess if you're a millennial entrepreneur, it's almost like the counter to the Occupy movement almost. You could think about it.
Yeah.
And but the thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, and the interconnectedness of like things like Twitter and other social media and Pinterest. I mean, it breaks the barrier down for us. And plus, because of it, we're in a 24-hour, 24/7 news cycle. We know what's out there. We know many other people, that aren't as famous that are doing things. If you go to a website called under30ceo.com, I mean, there's tons of examples of people in the Generation Y age group doing what we want to do, and not having to work that typical 9 to 5 that Gen Xers and my parents are used to.
Yeah, right. All right, now in this book, Entrepreneur Intervention: Triumphs and Failures of Entrepreneurs, you really detail a lot of old school entrepreneurs as well, right? The J.W. Marriotts.
Sure.
You got the Allen Ginsbergs. You've got a little potpourri here. P.T. Barnum, talk about creativity. Give us your best one. Who in this book do you say, man, as I was doing my research and trying to learn the lessons of that person who took a risk, this one blew me away? Is there one stood out?
Yeah, well, they all stand out to me because, first of all, I mean, I learned something that everyone talks about in there. Before I even started the book, as I was on my own entrepreneurship journey, I learned a little bit of everything from what they detail here. But what's great about this book is that, I compiled the ones that are more famous, like the J.P. Morgans and the P.T. Barnums. But what these people did was they wrote in and gave me their examples. It was almost like a chicken soup for the soul approach, is how I wanted to take. How I wanted to take for it, and so one of the really ones that stood out to me was one of the Generation Y people that are involved here were two guys from Seton Hall. Their names are Peter Kelly and Jerry Sullivan, and they started this company called Framework Media Strategies. And they graduated Seton Hall. What is it about? Yeah, it was about 2009. Yeah, and they started on a very limited budget, just the way I did, and that's why I really identified with their story. They really get some great points. For those just starting out, especially in the Generation Y age group. And one of the ways they talk about it, I think this is really kind of cool, they talk about using their business as the guinea pig, because they're a media company, helping people kind of get their name out there, social media and other ways, and they kind of use themselves as an example, and this is what we can do for you based on how we got our name out there. Yeah. And they really focus on the social media aspect because we as Generation Yers, we grew up in this. I mean, we were in high school, some of us, and some of us were, going into college, and now it's just kind of taken off and just been this whole other element, especially with Pinterest and what that's doing now, and Facebook. So those guys were really, and I keep in contact with many of them, and really those guys are just fantastic.
All right, are you saying that? So their big secret was using social media to start their business?
Yeah. I mean that's because a lot of the people that they help are bands and other areas that really don't have a lot of time to put themselves out there on social media and build a network that way.
All right. So what
really
did they do? All right. So
sure.
They determined that their product is going to be their knowledge of social media and using it as a business tool.
Exactly.
What? All right. So what big lesson about marketing that product did you learn?
Well, really, it was just persistence because that's what it is for ones that aren't like the Zuckerberg that just take off and get a ridiculous valuation.
Right.
It's just persistence and putting your name out there constantly, getting in front of people, putting books out, and networking with people constantly on over your weekend at night, whenever you have a spare moment, because they both have daytime jobs too.
Yep.
And that's why I really identified with them because it's. You can't just sit around and expect it to happen.
Yep.
If you really want to go after it, you got to do it.
Well, and this is what I love about what you're doing, right? I mean, we got all sorts of entrepreneurs on this program, and we get some bigwigs, and then guess what? We get guys like you who are going to be bigwigs, right?
Right.
And that's, to me, that's the beauty of the story. And the beauty of the story is that it can be written many different ways. But I think the lesson you are teaching us right now is once again, one, you don't have to jump all in. You can have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But number two, you have to, and I'll put it in your words, get yourself out there. And what you are doing right now, you're a guy from Philly who's got a job. At 4 o'clock, you go all, you put it all on the wall with this financial bin, and you're talking to 3 knuckleheads here in Kansas City. Well, guess what? People know David now in Kansas City who didn't know David, 45 minutes ago. And you don't know what's going to come from this. You don't know if anyone's going to buy this Entrepreneurial Invention book, which, by the way, I believe you need to go to Amazon.com and buy this thing because he's compiled lessons from great entrepreneurs. So you're going to get, and it's written in a very, it's great. To me, it's the Cliff Notes. It's 28 really short, quick hit lessons. A couple are going to stand out and hit you between the eyes. But you don't know if anyone's going to buy this book. But what you are doing is you're saying, guess what? I'm going all in on this business, and I'm not going to just say I have a business. You're going out there and you're spreading the word. You're evangelizing. And that, my friend, is going to increase your chances of being successful. And guess what? If it doesn't, you know what you win today? You win relationships, right? Honestly.
Exactly.
Because that's what this thing is all about. At some point, I'm going to call on you, Dave, and I'm going to ask for help. Right. And at some point, you're going to call on Pat. And Pat's going to help you. And that's what this whole entrepreneurial gig is all about, right?
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and that's what's been fun for me ever since I started this back in 2010. I've built a network on Twitter, a network on Facebook, but more importantly, I've built a relationship with people. And like you said, I'm able to call on people. You know, when I launched the book, I hit it out to my network, and they retweeted it or sent it out or talked about it, and it's just amazing. Yep. I mean, and even if the financial bin goes nowhere, I mean, I've learned a ton of lessons and met a ton of great people in doing this. And so my next venture, who knows? I mean, if this isn't successful, I can go and do something else.
That's right. Amen to that. Well, David, hey, listen, my friend, God bless. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Good Polish guy from the East Coast. See, I grew up in Connecticut, so I've had to change my ways. I had to soften myself a little bit out here in the heartland, right? So it's good to get with a good Polish guy.
Take the edge off
Philly.
A little bit.
You know, David?
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, listen, hey, guys, give us your website. Where can people learn more?
Sure, no problem. It's financialbin.com. You can check us out on Twitter at financialbin, and we're also on every other social network you can think of.
All right, good deal. All right, my friend, God bless. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be with a guy named Sean Geehan. He's the author of the B2B Executive Playbook. If you are somebody who has to sell to other businesses, or you're considering starting a B2B business, the formula is not the same as B2C. You need a different formula. We've got it right after this commercial break. You listen to ESPN 1510. Hey, Brian Sullivan, host of the Entrepreneurial Moment here with a quick question. Do you have a vague notion of what your dream home should look like? If so, you need to call my friend Pat Madden at Madden McFarland Interiors, because his team has the vision and experience to turn that vagueness into reality. And trust me, these people have the unique resources, skills, and that entrepreneurial passion to bring your dream home to life. To schedule your consultation, contact Pat at 913-681-2821 or visit him at the southwest corner of 135th and State Line in Leawood.
Hello there. Is this the psychiatric emergency hotline? Good. My boss, Jack Bondon, he's going crazy. Well, the big guy came over here to the warehouse, the Babilia warehouse, and he noticed the additional inventory I ordered. If you count all the beer, wine, and spirits, it's about 6 million cases, give or take.
6 million Russian manufacturers?
He's really going for it now. She says, don't hold back, Jack. I mean, Mr. Bondon.
Pay attention to me.
Sure, Babilia can handle your party of 20 people. Or 20,000 people for that matter.
6 million cases?
Oh, don't worry, he'll calm down soon.
No, I don't think he will calm down soon. You don't know Jack.
This is Jack Bondon, president of your favorite Babilia stores. As Kansas City's #1 wine and spirits retailer, your neighborhood Babilia offers you more savings, more selection, more expertise. From our warehouse to your Babilia, you can always count on our selection, pricing, and staff to be the very best in town. Stop in and see Chuck on Warnell or any of our Babilia staff today, because at Babilia, they know Jack.
Protect your business with Integrity Software Solutions, the leading desktop security provider. Fishnet Security is proud to partner with Checkpoint Software Technologies to provide your business with integrity solutions, giving you the power to protect against worms, spyware, and hacker attacks on your entire network. Integrity Solutions stops information theft and allows safe PCs to connect to your enterprise. Contact Fishnet Security at 1-888-732-9406 or visit them on the web at fishnetsecurity.com.
With 160 years of experience and 700 corporate clients across 20 states, Tax Favored Benefits focuses on gaining a deep understanding of your financial priorities and objectives, choosing investment and financial products that best match your goals, and providing the best possible program for you and your company in today's complex financial environment. To find out more about their pension, profit sharing, employees' benefits, and investment plans, visit them online at taxfavoredbenefits.com or call 913-648-5526.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Did you hear that?
All right.
I didn't even have my headphones on yet.
Here's a test.
Yeah.
If you miss...
Okay, turn it up.
If you miss this song...
hang on.
We are going to have to change chairs.
Hang on. Oh, come on. Listen, even
I was trying to get you to do it before this. Okay, all right, come on.
Well, maybe I don't know the name of the song.
No, I didn't need to know.
Oh, you just need it's Led Zeppelin.
All right. I thought you were going to butcher that
listen,
one.
I told you.
You didn't know it until you heard Robert Plant. I guarantee it. You were scared.
Well,
you were getting all shaky over there.
It's not Smoke on the Water or anything. Look at Shane. Shane gets so disgusted. You watch it. I mean, it really is.
He can hardly look at you.
He gives the disappointing. He just shakes his head.
He's just like,
You know what? Fine. Maybe I'm not musically gifted, or maybe style's not important to me.
Oh,
but I don't want to be judged here. I don't come in here to be judged.
This is my safe place.
This is my safe place. This is where I can be me. With mockery.
It is.
Well, listen.
You are you, my friend.
You
are
and I'm not changing.
I know.
Proud.
That's why we love you. That's why we follow you.
You follow me?
I do.
I did add a rock chalk for you. Did you hear that?
You did throw a little rock chalk in. And that took a lot from you, Mr. Mildcat. Oh, I threw it across the bow, didn't I? That's right. Well, listen, enough about us. We are with my man, Sean Geehan. He's the author of the book, The B2B Executive Playbook, a national bestseller, and it's the first book in the market to exclusively focus on running a B2B company. With more than 20 years of extensive experience in leadership, strategy, sales, marketing, product development. Here's the moral story. The guy's smart. Now, here's an important thing I want to talk about. A lot of you have businesses right now. You're driving around in your cars, or you're sitting there in your cubicle, or you're listening on 1510.com, and you're selling to businesses. But some of the greatest lessons you've gotten over the past several years have been from people who are B2C companies. So you know what you decide? You're going to adopt those strategies. It's worked to sell widgets, so it must help me in selling my product to that C-suite executive who I need to partner with. But then you realize the strategy doesn't work. Well, so what do? We got my man Sean is going to teach us what you're doing wrong. Sean, how are you?
Just great, thanks. And I got to say that anybody that brings it in with Led Zeppelin, that's my new radio show.
Yes.
Oh, see?
See that?
I like it.
I told you it wasn't your old school business show. Oh, it's Shane, you taking props there?
Of course. Do I press the buttons back here and pick the music?
I got to tell you.
He is the gatekeeper.
He really is.
Yeah.
He is. You know, he's to us, he's kind of like DJ Jazzy Jeff in We're the Fresh Prince. I mean, that's really fresh. Where would Will Smith be without DJ Jazzy Jeff?
I was hoping you weren't going to go there.
Well, I mean, how would you ever know? Yeah, I mean, that's you. When was the last time you heard a DJ Jazzy Jeff reference?
Jeff right now?
I mentioned Led Zeppelin. How'd Will Smith work in?
I was going to say what a transition.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. All right, listen, hey, Sean, tell us about your business first of all, and who do you help?
Well, our focus is obviously all business to business, which we focus just on working in the B2B sector. I want to add that I have owned a couple retailers, bought and sold a couple of those as well. So I have experience there, but our focus as a company is working with companies that just sell to other businesses, and that's what we're completely focused on. And we work with any companies as large as Microsoft and Intel, all the way down to young startups and mid-sized organizations as well.
Okay. And so, all right, what are some of the big mistakes that companies are making when they are taking the strategy of selling, acting like they're a B2C, and you're saying, you are B2B, start acting like, where are they screwing up?
Absolutely. I think a big misnomer is when you read what Starbucks or Amazon or what Apple's doing, and you try to translate that into your world. But the reality is most B2B companies, the concentration of revenue is just within a few customers. So we always say the fate of your organization lies in the hands of just a few companies and quite frankly, probably just a few key decision makers. I was with a weekend ago. I was at a party with 3 business owners between $10 and $50 million, and all of them, their top 10 customers, were over 90% of their revenue. So
right.
Imagine that. That's the big thing, and so that's you have to really understand that and really work those customers. And the second piece is the level of customers. As you well know, having your expertise in selling, it's who you have relationships with. So it's not purchasing and the users, but really the ultimate decision makers, because they're the ones that really hold your fate. And we're out here in the Midwest, and if you think the tough times in 2008 with the auto industry, the whole economy, we had we had hundreds of tool and die shops that support the automotive sector go out of business. Because they weren't prepared. They were really calling on purchasing and being really reactive, and only had 3 or 4 accounts, the big 3 and maybe the Honda and Toyota in their hip pocket as customers.
Yeah. So what do? How do you, right, those guys, how would they hedge their bets?
Well, the big thing is sometimes, people can make a great career out of supporting just a handful of customers. But when you know that, you have to run it differently. And so when I say in the B2B world versus the B2C, in the B2C side, purchasing, HR, IT, operations, or manufacturing are probably run the same. Where it's run differently is on the go-to-market side. And specifically, it's not just about the relationships. How do you engage these few customers in a meaningful way to help make sure your investments are aligned to where they're going to spend money and make investments? So that's what a lot of our customers do. Is what we do is we help bring them in and have real strategic conversations with decision makers of their biggest customers, and included in the room are the CEO and all the head of the functions. So they're together and really make sure that the investments, whether it's plant equipment, acquisitions, products they develop, everything is aligned to where the customer is going as an organization. So we don't get surprised that they decide to go a different direction. We make sure we've galvanized that relationship, created a symbiotic relationship between us and those key customers.
All right, so that's your role. Are you a consulting firm who will work with an organization to become tighter, or should I say, add more value to that B2B customer? That's what your organization does?
Right, and we use that as a springboard, but then for we help with strategic planning process, etc. But it's all centered around where those top customers are going. And the more we align to that and really make our investments, that's where it pays off, and they're a lot less likely to leave you, and they're a lot more likely to recommend you. So the good news is they can help get others like them, and help diversify. So what I find very interesting is even competitors. I had a competitor, quite frankly, get up at a conference and talk about how the work we were doing with them was so powerful that 4 of their competitors came up to me right after the industry meeting and said, "Can you work with us?" Yeah. We subsequently signed 2 of them as customers. So having your top customers, get up and become advocates and really put their reputation on the line for you means a lot to prospective customers.
Yeah, well, and to share with the competition the secret, which is the man named Sean Geehan, right? So that was good for you. Well, your book, The B2B Executive Playbook, The Ultimate Weapon for Achieving Sustainable, Predictable, and Profitable Growth. It's a great book because it's very specific. It really is a game plan. That's what I like about it for creating and sustaining a tight-knit relationship with the C-suite, and even in the basement, where the purchasing, materials management, whatever it might be. In the book, you talk about, once again, the top customers, largest part of the revenue, but something you also talk about is margins, and how margins are being threatened and eroding. So let's use an example, all right? So let's assume I'm a Sullivan Industries, and I've got 5 big customers. And we know that everyone's crying poor these days. And the CEO of my number one calls me and says, Sullivan, we need to sit down. And
Sully,
we need
to sit down.
Come on. Come to the place.
I'll be him.
That's right. All right.
Give me something to do.
All right, that's good. So that's what he does. He sits down. He says, all right, here's what I'm going to need to do. Right? My margins are lower. I need you to slash your price by 8%. I'm sorry. I love you. We've had a long-time relationship. We've gone golfing to Scottsdale for the last 12 years. Listen, I love you. Because you're seeing a lot of that, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I want to make sure we do is get out in front of that. So we're continuing to evolve and move it. Because if we don't improve our product or service or continue to add and enhance it, it does move down the commodity, down towards commoditization. So we have to continue to make those investments. Now, I'm not going to say that a big customer won't come to you in a real tough time as a decision maker and say, listen, can you cut 5% in your price in the short term, get me over this hump? If you have a strong enough relationship, I've seen that happen, and then they'll come back and say, I'll make it up to you down the road.
Yeah.
But that's a partnership. But if you have that relationship, that's okay. But if it's purchasing, hammering you every year, you come back to sell the same thing, and they want 5% down, less, with nothing coming back on the other end, you've got the wrong relationships at the wrong level, and you're having the wrong conversation, and you probably are missing the mark, and you're becoming reactive. So you got to get in front of that and have that conversation. I don't mind that conversation you said, as long as it's in a part of an overall relationship that's long-term, and there's long-term commitment that down the road you may come back and say, listen, I'm getting choked out here. Is there a way you could order, instead of pushing an order out a quarter, can you bring it back a quarter and just store the inventory for me?
Right.
So we've had people do the quid quo pros. That's great. That's a great partnership to have that type of relationship, but it's got to be two-way, Brian.
Yeah, right. Well, and I think the point of having the relationships at the highest levels, those are the areas who often value the relationship. Those are also the folks who can think more strategically, meaning if you know your stuff and your product really is good, they're not going to try to save 5% if the value that you have proven and the relationship and the service, everything that comes with the package, is valuable. Often people will come to me, Sean, and they'll say, all right, Sullivan, margins are eroding, and it's we're not making what we used to. And I'll say, okay, well, tell me what you do differently than your competition. And I got to tell you, 90% of the folks say
don't know.
Nothing. They drool on themselves. Or the response they give me is the same response that their competition would say to me. So I say, you really are no different. Mm-hmm. And so when there is no difference, there's only one place to go, and that is the price. And so,
well, to Sean's point, you've got to anticipate that and be ahead of it. I mean, you've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that with any level of predictability and sustainability is you make them a part of the conversation early as you're deciding where you make your investments. So, for instance, we've had people come and say if they have these voice of the customer programs, but in reality they're the voice of the user programs, because executives, quite frankly, don't fill them out, don't fill out the surveys. But if we engage these people and find out where they're going and refine our products and services to meet those needs, to drive, like you said, Brian, value versus functionality to the user level. So that's where you need to have the conversation to make sure any investment you make is valued to the decision maker. The user just goes, yeah, I'd love to have all these features and functions. Right. But the reality is the decision maker may get no value out of it, so he won't pay a premium for that particular enhancement. Yeah. So you got to make sure and validate through the decision maker. And, you folks are experts at the selling process. So you have to make, as you well know, you have to have that tool. What I would say is when you have that conversation, make sure you're getting incredible input across the small amount of customers that you can really give you the clarity and confidence from where to make your investments or your big bets.
Yeah, and you better know who ultimate decision makers are, which means you need to ask at every level, which is a common mistake. It's I'm making the assumptions, or I'm cozy with the existing relationship I have, and I don't want to step on anyone's forehead, so I'll stay cozy here in the basement, never knowing where the big decisions are being made, right? So I think part of the B2B sale is have the relationship with the big boys and the big girls and believe that you belong at the big boy table. And that's a common mistake, is that, people are used to selling B2C. They don't understand that it really is a different game. But the good news is they can if they go to Amazon.com and purchase the B2B Executive Playbook written by the amazing author Sean Geehan. All right, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about what send the folks away with 2 or 3 action items, things they absolutely must do on their very next B2B call. So come on back. You're listening to ESPN 1510. Hey, Brian Sullivan, host of the Entrepreneurial Moment here with a quick question. Do you have a vague notion of what your dream home should look like? If so, you need to call my friend Pat Madden at Madden McFarland Interiors, because his team has the vision and experience to turn that vagueness into reality. And trust me, these people have the unique resources, skills, and that entrepreneurial passion to bring your dream home to life. To schedule your consultation, contact Pat at 913-681-2821 or visit him at the southwest corner of 135th and State Line in Leawood. Okay, say it with me. I am a salesperson. Again, I am a salesperson. Well, of course you are. We all are. But some are effective communicators and some are not. If you are looking to become a top sales producer, I have an online program that will make that happen. Go to www.preciseselling.com to learn more. Through audio, video, learning games, and assessment, I can teach you, in an entertaining way, how to sell a ton of products and services. In fact, I am so confident that you will love this program. I will give you 1 free online module on how to overcome common sales objections, valued at over $100. Practice the tips I share in this module, and it will mean thousands of dollars of new business to you. In addition, for a limited time, you can sign up for my free Precise Selling Weekly Tip by going to www.preciseselling.com and clicking on the free newsletter link. Hey, my objective is simple. It's to help you sell more products and services than you thought possible. Give me a shot, and I'll make it happen.
With 160 years of experience and 700 corporate clients across 20 states, Tax Favored Benefits focuses on gaining a deep understanding of your financial priorities and objectives, choosing investment and financial products that best match your goals, and providing the best possible program for you and your company in today's complex financial environment. To find out more about their pension, profit sharing, employees' benefits, and investment plans, visit them online at taxfavoredbenefits.com or call 913-648-5526.
Are your sales lagging? If so, I have the formula to not only increase them, but increase them big, and in just 20 days. Hi, I'm Brian Sullivan, co-host of Entrepreneurial Moment and author of the book, 20 Days to the Top. 20 Days to the Top contains the exact formula to making your sales force famous in your industry. To purchase your copy or to learn how to boost your sales in just 20 days, go to www.preciseselling.com or pick up your copy of 20 Days to the Top at a bookstore near you.
Look at him.
I got to tell you, this would be a good song right here.
You like it?
And down the road, try to loosen my road.
You were trying to loosen your load earlier. But
I was, you know what? But just being around you, it's a load off my shoulders, right?
Nice.
Yeah, you see, that's a good professional segue is what we call that here in the radio business.
Because we are business.
We are business.
Business to business.
Listen, welcome to the Entrepreneurial Moment on ESPN 1510. Your 3 buddy, Shane behind the glass, otherwise known as Barabbas. It is the Lenten season, and Barabbas, he was chosen over our my Lord
I still
Savior
don't know
Jesus
if he knows
Christ.
who you're talking about. It's been
listen.
2 or 3 years. I still don't know if he knows who.
You don't know who Barabbas is? Barabbas. He's the guy who is between Barabbas and Jesus. Jesus got hung on a cross instead of Barabbas.
You've explained this, and I don't feel like that's a good thing to call me that.
Well, you've got the beard, you've got the head. I mean, you really got all the
head. What is that?
Well, listen, welcome to a very
poor Sean's just sitting there going, really?
Very serious business hour. We're with Sean Geehan, as the author of the book, The B2B Executive Playbook. It's a national bestseller. Sean is the guy who can help your business. I don't care if you've got maybe you're $1 million business, hoping to be a $50 million business. If you sell to B2B, you need to first of all buy the Executive Playbook, the B2B Executive Playbook, and number 2, it might be worth picking up the phone and seeing how Sean can help you. So, Sean, where can people get more information about you?
If they go to our site, or SeanGuillen.com, they can go there, and that'll get you into even our company site, which is GuillenGroup.com. There's plenty of resources there, blogs. My whole team writes all kinds of blogs and articles there that you can, ask a question, and there's all kinds of search tools there to get some answers. So, or buy the book, obviously, and that's available as well, and that'll give you a guideline to the whole process, which I think the framework or the playbook, so to speak, is a good mindset for the CEO and probably the head of sales and marketing.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. All right. A question for you: Do relationships matter now as much as they used to?
I think they matter more, and the reason why I say that is, as you well know, nobody's going to do business unless they trust you, and that's not just trust as an individual, but also trust that you understand their business, trust that you're really looking out for them and you're thinking about their business. And if you prove that to people, there's a lot more elasticity, let's say, or forgiveness when things aren't going so perfectly, if you have the right relationships and you've carved that out. So they don't need you to be perfect. They want to know that you're in their corner for them. And I think that's absolutely important. Otherwise, you can kick it down to purchasing. It just comes down to the specs.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So, well, that's good to know, right? Because that's a common thing I'll hear from folks is the reasons my margins have gone down is because the relationships don't matter. And it's been too easy for my buddy Bill to kick me down to purchasing because, darn it, it's not like it used to be. And
right.
And I think that, once again, the point has become you have to work harder.
Maybe he's feeling the relationship doesn't matter to you.
Yeah.
There's only one reason why they kick you down.
Tell me.
And in my opinion, it's because you're not relevant.
Yeah.
You're not bringing that individual value. So what I think anybody in the food chain, if you're not bringing if you're only talking about a piece of their world, then they're going to move you to that person where it's a bigger piece of the pie because it's better for you and it might be better for them. But you need to make sure if that person's a decision maker, you have to see the world through their eyes. So if you're only selling, you may only have 5% of the budget. So for instance, CIOs, Chief Information Officers. I have a client that sells more security type of software and services, which are about 5% of the overall technology investment. But the reason why this company, these key salespeople, they're good ones, get access to the CIO is because they don't limit it to discussions around security. They make sure that the conversation they have is holistic to the CIO, and they want to understand where the priorities are within the solutions and services they have, and so they keep the conversation relevant to the customer's world, not contained to just what you sell.
All right, so give me an example. So how would let's say we're sitting in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What type of question would I be asking?
So two goals. I want to make sure I'm relevant where the person goes, I like the conversation I have with that person, and they're forward thinking. That's what I feel decision makers want. So a question like a great friend, but he's also incredible. He's head of sales at a company called LexisNexis. And one of the key questions he asks when he walks into any executive is something like this. What are the two things that need to go right for you to be wildly successful over the next 2 years? So it's kind of it's an open-ended question. It doesn't talk about my product or service, but I get inside their mind and I understand that. It gives me and I go to root, why is that, and tell me more about it. So I start to understand the details of his world, and then my big thing is I'd like to go away and engage as a sales rep where I might not be an expert, leave them enough to know that I'm going to think about these 2 or 3 things, and here's where I think my company might be able to help you. I'd like to go think about it, research it, and come back and meet with you. And I really believe, I don't know, there's a lot more sales processes out there, but I'm talking about more of a philosophy because
Sure.
I'm no sales trainer. But I think that philosophy that they feel like you're in their corner and you're only going to talk about things that are relevant to them.
Yep.
and engaging the rest of your organization or an outside organization to really help you drive the value to that person is very important.
Yeah, right. And so I think the big lesson there is your ability to, first of all, be curious and learn at the highest levels is so much more important than my job is to teach them about my products and services and the value that it will provide, right? And so that's it. And that's, I suppose, that's every level of an organization. So, hey, one more time, where can we learn more about your business? Because guess what? We might need your help, Sean.
All right. You want to go to guillengroup.com. Plenty of information there, all kinds of contact information as well. And thank you so much for having Pat and Brian on, having me on the call today.
Hey, it's our pleasure. Our pleasure, Sean. Hey, all right, good show. I miss you guys.
It's been fun.
I'm coming back next Monday.
Be
I'm coming. Are you kidding?
All right.
I'm easy. I got my easy chair. I'm all feeling good
I got
now.
out of mine.
Hey, listen, a good quote. Abraham Lincoln says, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it, because you can if you join us next Monday on ESPN. Say it.
1510.
Gosh, you're so slow. Love you. See you next week.
There's only one place to hear Mike and Mike in the morning. This is ESPN 1510, KCTE, Independence, Kansas City.